Hey everybody, we've got with us last minute edition, which I'm really excited to. It's author Jaime Hernandez. She is it's apocalyptic, zombies. It's the books that have Urban Gridlock is Chronicles of the Undead, book one. We're interviewing her about her latest book, Suburban Jungle, which is book two, which is coming out this Friday. Yeah, I was able to read a couple of pages, and just from that, this one, I'm actually really kind of excited to pick this up. I've never really read zombie books before, but this one, it seems like a really good book, and we're going to talk to her about that right now. Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is quite impossible. I need you. Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, we're back. This is, and just to let everybody know, originally we were going to have Hadley Thorne on this episode. We're going to reschedule her. She had an unexpected death in the family. One of her beloved pets passed away. She lost one of her dogs. That meant a lot to her. So I just want to tell everybody right now, obviously our condolences are with you, Hadley. We're really sorry about the loss. We just want you to find us the comfort that you can, and we'll definitely get you rescheduled. So at this time, we had another friend and a fellow author that Hadley knew. She handed her over the information. She was willing to come on, and her name's Jaime Hernandez. She's author of zombie apocalyptic books. And welcome to the show, Jaime Hernandez. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
Really good. I'm actually excited. We talked a little bit before the show because we've never really done one on zombies episode, and that's always been kind of the thing. We should do so in this way. We're kind of, it's the two birds with one stone. We got to talk to an author about the book that's just coming out, plus we got to actually tackle the zombie topic. So yeah, so what got you into the zombie genre to start with, in a way of as a writer?
As a writer, it was reading zombie apocalypse books. I didn't even realize the genre existed until 2017. I stumbled across a few on my Kindle when I was looking for something new to read, and I started reading some great zombie series, and I just thought it was the greatest thing. Just as a zombie lover, these books were amazing, and from all different viewpoints, military. A lot of them would have military or preppers and things like that. And I just really fell in love with the genre reading it. And then early last year, I started writing my own zombie book, the first one in my series.
Nice. And that's the, let's see if I get here. I had it up here. Let me share this thing real quick. Bob, sorry, I thought I had that real handy. That was Urban Gridlock.
Yeah, that was
Urban Gridlock, and then so that these are both available in Kindle and paperback. Are they? These aren't hardback by any chance, are they?
No.
Yeah, I'm one of those old school, people that really likes the hardcovers and stuff too. Is that it's getting harder and harder to get those books. It's paperback. So these ones, and they're both are they're fairly good size too. They're about somewhere between the 200 and 300 page mark,
Yeah,
aren't
they're
they?
both a little over 300 pages. I think 308 and 335, something like that.
Nice. And we give shout out to your publisher too. And if you want, is it
Oh, it's actually self-published.
self-published? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's now. We can kind of probe into that one a little bit there. Do you plan on expanding on that as well, to where maybe trying to bring on other people under you, or is it just for right now you're just publishing your own work and then maybe that something will come of that?
Right now, just publishing my own work and seeing where it goes. And, book 1 was really well received. If the second book is, and I can continue with the series, we'll see how the whole series goes. And if things, go really well and get big enough, that's something I would consider. Because so many authors in the indie author community, the zombie indie author community, are very helpful to each other. There's quite a few who I consider the bigger names in indie zombie authors. I can ask them a question anytime. They'll help me out. They'll take you under their wing, things like that. So I want to be able to pay that forward to others that come along after me.
And it's like David Simpson, isn't he? You're really close with him. And so for anybody, it's like I could bring that up if you're anybody that's not familiar with David Simpson's works. But yeah, that one. When did you start writing your first book?
I started writing it right around the beginning of last year. I actually thought about it for probably 6 months before I started writing. I had kind of the story idea coming together, and I was developing all the characters in my head. And I did a lot of that just in my mind for a good 6 months before I started writing notes. And then I wrote a lot of notes just about each of the characters, not about the story so much, but just the characters themselves. The story was in my head. And then the beginning of last year, I started writing it. When things went a little crazy with COVID, I took a few months off from writing it, but got back into it during the summer and finished it, I believe, last October. But then after you finish, there's so much that comes after, with getting beta readers and editing and getting a cover designer and things like that, that I ended up releasing the first book February 1st of this year.
Wow, and so I mean, you're cranking out a book based at that point every 4 months. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous. It's anytime we have somebody that has an insane talent, it's one of those things you just look at. You can only just sit back in awe and be impressed, because I just, and that actually, wait, before I go too far, I want to lose train of thought. I want to actually, so when you're writing, I've listened to a few authors and their writing style. Are you familiar with the Outlander series?
Not
at all?
no.
Diana Gabaldon, she's one of those, and her writing style, it's one of the most unique ones that I've really described, because she'll look at something like she wants to write a scene, but she'll write like all these different scenes at different points. It'll pop in her head, and she'll write aside, and then she just has like a stack of these things. And then when she gets to that point in the story, she's writing it, she's like, oh, that's right, I wrote about it, and brings that in. And so along that kind of thing, how do you come about formulating the story? Do you have an overarch, like I know from beginning to end, I know where I want to go? Or is this something like I'm looking at your, Max and Jesse, the six stories? Do you kind of just start with the cliche in the beginning, you have this thing and you start at that point, and then you just kind of in your mind just go from there? So how do you come piecing your story together?
Well, the beginning of the story, it opens with a big bang. It's the first chapter is huge. A lot happens fast. And I planned that out, but I wrote it, I can't tell you how many times before I was happy with that first chapter. But for the entire book itself, I don't really use an outline or anything, but I know the bullet points of what's going to happen. I know how the book is going to end. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to get there. Like, I know we need to get from A to B to C to D, but I don't really know exactly how we're going to get to each point. It just kind of flows naturally when I'm writing. And
nice.
I feel like I know my characters so well that I can just be typing them and they're talking, and I feel like sometimes they just have minds of their own. And some of the, smaller things happening in the book weren't planned out at all. Especially like there's 2 young teenage boys that are best friends. They tend to do that a lot. Like I'll be typing one of their scenes and next thing I know it's something completely different than what I had originally planned, but it just feels right and I love it.
That's cool. That is really similar to what I was talking about before, where it's like that's what I love to hear, because this is something where it's just, that you've put this depth into the characters. I'm getting more excited about actually reading the book, because that's what I like. I like it where you feel like somebody's telling a story from a backstory perspective. It wasn't just one like, oh, okay, yeah, this would be pretty cool if a zombie just comes crashing through the window, it takes them out. You've actually thought, you've thought through the characters, and so these things make more sense as you're reading them. And for anybody that's not a big reader, as I try to explain to him, it's like my son is going, it's like the beauty of reading is, you have a good author and a great story when, as you're reading it, it's like you're watching a live movie. A film in front of your eyes, because you can see the images. So as you're describing that, like, as I'm looking just like the blurbs here, in Max and Jesse are 6 stories high on a construction job when when the gates of hell explode in downtown Cleveland. I'm sure as I'm reading that, I'm probably going to be picturing, these guys, in my mind, they're up, the steel girders, the concrete, you got the construction site, and all of a sudden you just picture that large, just, explosion, and then it stuff's happening. And if you've crafted the story, which appears on, just here like that you have, this is what would be amazing, is because then not only do I get to see the effort that you put into your story, I'm getting that thing where now it's just, I'm actually watching this thing and I'm living this, the world that you have created. And I love that. I love that in an author. So I've got another book to read. So
that's awesome.
That's in the stack now. So in fact, while we're doing this, I'm going to be ordering the first one as we see.
I may repeat a question here. My internet's been in and out. What got you into just zombies? Why did you like, what? Zombies is my book, my theme.
Well, I've always loved zombie movies, and I've always been a big fan of zombies. I've always loved writing, and I've tried to write books in the past where, I made like an attempt, but it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't right. I didn't have a good idea. I didn't have a good story. And then I just thought about it. And so many times I've heard, write what you love and also write what you know. And I know zombies and I love zombies. And I decided that's what I should be writing. And once I decided to do that, it just all came together for me. Like the story, like I have plans for 6 books.
Oh, wow.
So, the second book is coming up Friday, but I have plans for the next 4. And with the possibility of it going further from there, but depending on how the series does.
That's good. That's what I like too. I don't like reading a book and then it's like, all right, another one. Oh, that was only one. Oh, that's wait. I feel like that's a waste of my time. I'm like, damn, there's so much more you could do. You gotta keep going.
Yep.
You get invested.
And that's what it looks like. Is so just. It kind of seems silly to ask this. You just released the book. Are you already working on book 3? Since we're 4 months out.
In my mind, I am. In my mind, I've already got, I know what's happening, and it's going to be. Book 2 started at a different pace. Book 1 was just explosive. Book 2 started at a different pace because of the next stage of the story. Book 3 is going to be explosive right from page 1. Readers are probably going to go crazy with what's happening and what's going on with the characters. So I have a lot of it planned in my head, but again, I have the bullet points. I have kind of the first chapter or so, what I want to put in. I'll actually probably start typing in the next 2 weeks.
Oh. So by maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I want to have it out
Nice.
this winter.
That'd be awesome.
Nice. And that's one of the things we've had another fellow author, Max Hawthorne, on, and that's his thing too. It's the gauge of a great author is somebody who even though it absolutely people are going to be absolutely mad at you for killing off their favorite character. It just when it comes to that time, when it comes to that time, that especially as your author, I'm sure it's like this has to be done, because if not, the story becomes old, stale, boring, cliche. But when you do that, it has such an impact. I mean, we're avid Star Wars fans. We've read all the Star Wars books, and in one book they killed Chewbacca. And so you're like, what do you do? But it was necessary to the story. And like you say, like book 3, I can already envision what you're doing. You've got this setup, and you're going to have somebody that I could already tell, like just based off the smile, you already have somebody that there's going to be some people that are going to be like, Jamie, why did they have to go? I wanted them to make it to they were that close to escaping. It's like, why did that? And you're like, it has to be. It has to happen.
I don't know if you finished Max's whatever book that was. There were so many ups and downs. I got to the end, I'm like, I just been through so much, and it was insane. Like it's great. I mean, I haven't read your book. I haven't seen the title yet, or even the picture, but I'm excited to read it. I'm not a zombie fan as much, but I'm excited to read it because same thing we talk about with Max too. I mean, Craig, he's from Oregon, so I mean, he hasn't done too much offshore fishing like I have. But when Max writes, he writes about fishing offshore and like just megalodon type of thing. And the way he wrote it, you could just even like Craig, he had never been offshore fishing. He could just imagine it. And when I took him offshore, he was like, "Wow, it's just like Max wrote it." Described it perfectly. So I'm excited to read your book now.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna order it now.
I said. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, in the first book, it's about Max and Jesse. They're lifelong best friends. They're in the middle of downtown Cleveland when the zombie apocalypse starts. And it starts fast and furious. Like, it's everywhere. And it also focuses on their families out in the suburbs. And they're all trying to reunite. And there's, you're rooting for all of them. You want to see the husbands and wives. They each have 2 kids, see them all get back together. But not everybody can make it. And, readers really, really were not happy about, it's a zombie story. So not everybody's going to survive every situation. On the other hand, if one of those characters is going to fall to the zombies or is going to die in another way, there's a reason for it. I wouldn't kill off a character just to kill off a character. If someone's story is coming to an end, there's a reason behind it. It's not just like, oh, let's take him out or let's take her out, But the readers really get attached to the characters.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too. And I know, like, out of every zombie movie, everything I've always done, please tell me you tell us how the zombie apocalypse starts.
Not yet.
but you are going to tell us though, at least, right?
Yeah, I know how it started, and I will eventually, but not yet. Right.
Okay, everybody, you heard it here. Jaime Hernandez has promised us we will know how the first zombie came about. Okay, because if you ever watch like Fear of the Walking Dead, when that show first came out, we're like, thank God, we're going to find out how the zombies came about. Wrong. Wrong. I'm just, spoiler alert for anybody, wrong. You're not going to find out how the zombies came about. All of a sudden, it's just like, you just went back in time to where there weren't as many zombies. And you're just like this is, I want to know, what was it? Was it a lab? Was it an escaped animal out of just something? Please tell me. And that's so okay. We have a promise. She's going to tell us.
Yes, eventually.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So
it won't be book 3, but it'll be later in the series. You will find out eventually. Okay,
good. And that's so kind of when we're talking about zombies now in reality. Do you think this is a scenario that could ever honestly occur? a zombie thing? Because I've always had people that's just like, what are the likelihoods that we could actually have people just wandering around, doing this type of thing? So it's because it's been real prevalent in pop culture and thing probably in the last, I would say at least 15, 20 years. Zombies have really taken off.
Yeah, I don't think we could really have a zombie apocalypse. I think it's something that people really enjoy, almost fantasizing about, because it seems like it almost seems like it could happen. So, just having, something that's almost possible but isn't quite possible. Excuse me. I think, people like to think it will, but I don't honestly think it could actually happen. I think we could end up with some kind of post-apocalyptic scenario, but not zombies.
Yeah, because I've always just, because you always extreme, like, The Walking Dead, you have one of the first scenes where, you have half the body, crawling along the grass. And the whole time I'm like, what can keep this thing, everything has to have some sort of type of food to move, it's like, what's keeping the muscles moving? What's actually keeping these things going? But I think that's part of the beauty behind this creature in this type of thing is how it's such an unnatural thing. And that's what kind of freaks so many people out, is that you could have this half corpse crawling after you, wanting to bite you and turn you into, and that's where, like, World War Z, that was a whole different thing. Now you don't have the slow lumbering, type. You have this fast moving one that's Usain Bolt speed, chasing down, and as soon as you get bit, you're like, turn, and then all of a sudden you're off to the that one. Now that person's a zombie and running. It was a whole different environment, which was crazy.
I Am a Legend. Oh,
yeah, I'm Legend. Oh. Yep, that's a. But yeah, who doesn't remember that? Who doesn't remember that scene when Will Smith is yelling at the mannequin?
I shared that the other day.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? It's like, no, freak it out because the mannequin that's in the store is suddenly sitting out in the middle of the street. Yeah, it's in those. So what's your favorite zombie? Is it the fast moving, slow moving?
I love Romero style zombies, and the zombies that I write are Romero style. They're slow, but they're strong. Like if they get a grip on you, it's really difficult to, get that hand off of you, but they're slow. However, I enjoy reading about all kinds of zombies, slow, fast, some semi-intelligent, some evolving. And of course, in movies, there's a lot of movies with fast zombies, and I think that's a lot of fun. It's really entertaining. But I enjoy the old school zombies, his movies, George Romero's original movies, and like I said, I write slow zombies, but they're all fun.
So everybody get out your binoculars again, because I like to find the tiniest Google pictures we can find.
We need to start manufacturing 3 Beards magnifying glasses.
So if everybody looks really closely to their screen, they can see a Romero style zombie right now. If you just lean right in.
No, you can actually zoom in your screen, so we don't tell people that.
No,
you're on your phone.
No, yeah. If you have a touchscreen computer, you can zoom in your screen.
Yeah, so that's just everybody. All right, that's enough of that picture for ants. All right, yeah. So that was a poorly attempted showing off the Romero style zombie. Yeah, and that's like the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. That style, and it's just and I think that's the classics, really the classic style too. Just that real slow, just. That's almost, you got the group and they're not like super moving, but it's also just, there's nowhere to run because they're slowly closing in and they get you, it's like,
that's the ones that people.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the ones that people just sit and watch as they walk closer, and you're trying to figure out somewhere to go and you're just walking closer.
Well, they just, slowly overwhelm you. They just have so many numbers that, that's how they get you. There's just so many of them. I think with the faster zombies, it makes great for great movies, but there's no way in the world you could try to escape a fast zombie. I think it's more fun to. I think they're creepy too when there could be hundreds or thousands in a horde just slowly closing in on you.
Yeah, I mean that was that scene World War Z, where they're in Jerusalem where they had the walls, and you see them just piling on top of each other to scale the wall, and they're just going up. Yeah, I mean, because if you don't have that fast movie, you can't have the intense, smoldering look Brad Pitt as he's climbing onto the helicopter, as he's flying away. Yeah, you can't have those Hollywood moments when it's just the lumbering, slow-moving zombie. It's not as intense. But I think probably like. For you, it's like I really like we'll go to World War Z too. That night scene in Korea, I think it was either North Korea, where they were at, and it was the rain. They're on the plane. You have to go silent because you don't want to make any sound to alert them. And that scene, I think for me, had a lot more of an impact because you're getting one jump scare. That's coming in a movie no matter what. You're gonna get the jump scare. But it was that intense part. And I think even with like that Romero style, you would have that same thing where you could almost have that same intensity because at any time, it's not like they're just walking around just doing the whole, like we're doing the, making sounds. If you just have this slow moving creature that's not making any sound, it'd be the same thing. You'd be like, all right, guys, come on, hurry. And you turn around and boom, it's right there, and just, it would have the same effect and still be the same freaky thing, and you wouldn't have to have something come flying at you. It would just be the same turning around, somebody standing on your shoulder, and you're like, oh my god. Yeah. And that's I can't wait. I'm gonna actually start reading your book. I've got so much reading ahead of me. Mona was just saying 28 days later. What do you think of that movie?
Oh, I really love that movie. I like the 28 weeks later even more.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're two different. They're sequel, but they're really two different things. And I really enjoyed that movie.
I mean, we can all agree the best zombie movie ever made, Zombieland.
Nah.
You just like the Bill Murray scene when he gets taken out.
Yeah, Zombieland 2 was horrible, but it was still fun.
No, I like it. It's not one of my top favorites.
So what is your favorite zombie movie?
Oh, my all-time favorite is the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend's mom. She loves the shot. Wow, what's his name? I forgot it. But yeah, those three, the trilogy with him, she loves that.
Yeah, actually, the first time I saw the first three movies, the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, was in one day when I was like maybe 21 years old. And I was like, oh my God. And that was from there on, zombies. I just love them.
So is that when you started your passion for them, or you had always liked them before that?
You know what? I wasn't really overly aware of them before that. I'd heard of them and I'd seen, something here or there, but it was watching those three movies back to back when I did is when I really got into zombies.
Yeah.
Chassis reading off all the rules from Zombieland.
Yeah, I know. I hope you're all doing cardio. That's one of those things. It's that old adage. It's like when you have to get away from something, I don't have to be faster than the zombie. I just have to be faster than you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you. That's why you always make sure you have the really out of shape, friend that's with you during the zombie apocalypse, because then that increases your survival.
Yeah.
What's that other joke? It's like, I brought this pistol with me. It's like, well, that's not going to kill him. It's like then you shoot your friend in the knee, that drops him down. It's like, I'm going to survive.
Craig is such a bad friend.
Hey, in zombie apocalypse, there's no rules, sir.
There is rules.
No, there's no rules. No, it's not Zombieland. Remember?
Well, remind me not to hang out with you.
Yeah.
No, I'll be the one that it sits there, shares with everybody, and then you realize there's no food for me because I was too generous.
Exactly.
No, I agree. That's one of those in the books. I mean, I'm really looking forward to, all jokes aside, I'm really looking forward to actually cracking into this one. You gave me an advanced one for your new one that's coming out Friday, Suburban Jungle, but I'm gonna pick up Urban Gridlock and start from there, so that way I can actually, like you said, start from that first moment when it goes down, and then build up from there, because that's what it really looks, just like I said, reading the excerpt that's out there, it really looks cool. It's just how you've got somebody that's, it's your everyday life, and then all of a sudden, boom, just that instant change. It's like, how do you go? And I think that's what makes it compelling based off there. It's just because it's not like the slow burn. It's just like instant life change. And now it's like, how do we survive?
Yeah, that's part of what I was going for. Part of it was I wanted it to be, just sudden like that. It just all happens all at once, really fast. And the other thing was I wanted to write a story about, your average, ordinary person, not military or ex-military or, special forces or preppers or people like that. There's a lot of great books about them. Like, those are, some of my favorites, actually, by Sean Chesser. His Surviving the Apocalypse series. He's one of my top 3 all-time favorite zombie authors, and his is special forces. But I wanted to write one from the perspective of, what if this was like my family when the zombie apocalypse starts? Just regular, ordinary people doing regular jobs that don't have stockpiles of supplies or anything like that, and have families. So that's basically the perspective. It's not like based on my family, but it's from that perspective when I wrote the book, or wrote both books.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I really, that's why I was really happy to get you on here, because it's get the perspective. Because when we started this, I won't lie, I never envisioned this when we started the podcast. I never envisioned this type of scenario where we're actually talking to authors as the books are coming out. So this is really cool, because now it's like we're getting a sneak peek on something that's not even out yet. People are just now getting, and it's just, you can buy, its actual release is supposed to be Friday, but it looks like you can purchase it right now on Kindle. So,
well, you can pre-order it, but if you pre-order it now, it'll be delivered to your Kindle on Friday.
Yeah. So there we go. It's just I've given you a snapshot into something that doesn't exist yet. There we go. And so why did you pick Cleveland? That's a good question.
Actually, I was born and raised in Ohio, and part of my childhood and actually part of adulthood, I lived in Cleveland, and part of it I lived in some of the western suburbs of Cleveland. And
so how did Cleveland wrong you? That's what we want to know.
I'm sorry?
I said, what did Cleveland do to hurt you so badly that you took it out on Cleveland?
Well, I actually just kept picturing downtown Cleveland, Public Square, and, the Terminal Tower building, which is historic. It's where the old Christmas movie, A Christmas Story, was filmed. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's totally off topic, but...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah, that was filmed there. And, I'd gone to downtown Cleveland so many times in my life for things, especially like with my grandma. We'd ride the bus or ride the train down there and go to Tower City, which is in the Terminal Tower building. So
okay.
I had this picture in my mind of just Public Square with the Terminal Tower, and then there's a wing with a hotel, a wing with a casino. I know the area well, and I wrote it in such a way that if you live in that area, or if you have lived there, you'll recognize what I'm describing. Even as they try to fight their way out of downtown, on highways and through neighborhoods, if you know the area, you'll recognize it. I didn't use street names and everything, but the way I describe things, people will be like, "No, I know that's Lakewood," or things like that. Yeah, there you go, Terminal Tower.
Oh wow,
that's. So whenever anybody's reading it, so now here's what you can visualize when she's talking about. So Yeah, that's a cool building. Yeah, that's no, it's and that's one of those. So that's the same. That makes sense, because you're going off of what you know, and that's so. I was curious too why your setting was, the start was Cleveland, but that's once again she did promise us, so we're going to find out if it originates in Cleveland or if it was from somewhere else. So, but we will know. She promised.
Do you picture yourself doing one in Texas? Because there's a lot of farmlands, biting farmers and stuff.
I don't know yet. I have an idea for another series, but I'm trying to. It's in the back of my mind. I can't help but think about it, but I'm trying to stay focused on the current one. I might do something in Texas.
Sneak peek, guys. Texas.
Yeah, I've been in Texas since 2012. I don't know it as well, obviously, as I do Ohio. But I think it would be really interesting. You have a completely different climate, for one thing. Mm-hmm. And you also, supplies and access to military bases and things would be much different in Texas than they are in Ohio.
That's where I was kind of going with that. You touched on that and you said it. There's a lot of land, a lot of different things in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, Chassie, seriously, why do you think Florida would be the start of a zombie? Come on.
They're not going to let it hit Disney. No, not Florida.
Yeah, she was just like, it's either, Ohio or Florida. I could definitely see it. Would be the start. And I'm like, come on, why is it gonna be? Why does it always have to be Florida man? Why?
I mean, there's your answer is Florida man.
Yeah, Florida man.
It's always something.
Some guy blows up something in his garage and it turns the neighborhood into zombies.
That might happen, honestly.
Now, are you was one of those? Like I said, I apologize for not having a lot of this stuff beforehand, with you coming on, short notice. Are you part of that zombie? I think there's Hadley does part of her thing where it's a zombie talk. Are you involved with that?
Oh, you mean the Weird Realities?
Yes, where they do a lot of shows like zombies.
Yeah, I just recently became a part of it in the last maybe 2 months. Yeah, because the first thing I did was there was an Army of the Dead after party with a zombie apocalypse author or zombie author expert panel where we all discussed the movie and did a live event for that, which was a lot of fun. And that was with Weird Realities. Okay. And I'm just getting started in with the whole group. That was the first big podcast I did with them. I've done one with Hadley herself, just she and I. That was just, I believe, last week. Okay. And I'll be on some panels in the future, but there's a few things we're working on. She's, I think, the mastermind behind everything, but there's going to be Alan Gamboa and Jeff Thompson, both zombie authors, are doing Watching Weird. I think it's Watching Weird Realities Inc. And they're actually doing panels with some zombie directors and some other people in the film industry.
Oh, wow.
So it's really starting to, it wasn't originally with horror and zombies. It was, everything weird. And then she slowly started, branching out and connecting with other fiction writers, and that's led to people in the film industry. And they've had a couple of directors on so far. And then in August, there's going to be an all-female panel. Hadley will be on there, and some female authors and a couple other the hosts for The Handmaid's Tale. They're going to do, I believe there's 46 episodes of the series, and half of them haven't even watched the entire show yet. They're watching it all now and really getting into it just to do this special panel. It's basically what we did for Army of the Dead, where, we had our after party. It was an hour and a half, 2 hours, where we basically dissected it, talked about everything we liked, we didn't like, and that's what they're going to be doing with that. And that'll be in early August, I believe. So, but yeah, I had my book release coming up, so I had to kind of slowly get into it. But now that my book's coming out, I'll have much more time to put towards weird realities, which is really exciting. There's some really good people. Oh yeah, you've pulled it up there. That's everybody that's on that panel.
Yep. And that's where, so we just got that. So that's really cool. And I've really liked the fact that we've brought up this friendship between several of these people through Joey and Tanya Medea, Mark, Eddie. Now I would consider Hadley Thorne, yourself, in this group as well, where everybody's looking to help each other. There's not this competition where this is this is my contact. No, you can't have these things. Where she through this unfortunate thing that happened today, she felt devastated, and she felt so bad not being able to make it, but she was willing to just reach out to you. It's like, would you mind coming on at last minute? And she said, she threw out some names. She's like, would you be interested in here? And when she said, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. If one of them wants to come on, I would love to talk to him. And when she mentioned, she's like, well, Jamie would like to, and I was like, I would absolutely love it. And I mean, I feel honored that her and yourself would even consider us as an avenue to come in, because this is, I mean, we're three guys in Central Florida. I mean, it's not, we have obviously a different perspective, when it comes to things, but it's not like this is, you've made it if you've made it to Three Beards podcast. We want to think that. It's just, but for me, it's just, I absolutely love the fact that I get to talk to people like yourself, from all these different backgrounds, and get these things, because I don't know. I mean, it's hard. You're trying to come up with the words. I really love hearing these stories and how you came about being an author. I mean, it's just, in that way too, I guess we could branch on that. I mean, did you go to school to, to be, into writing, or was this just something through life? You just became, a passion of yours?
It's actually just something that became a passion of mine. I've always been a good writer, in school, and I wrote any chance I got. The first thing I remember writing was actually a poem in first grade. I won a contest and got to meet Shel Silverstein.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's like the thing that stands out in my mind, because in first grade, that was my first thing. That was big, especially
wow, that's cool.
Kid. Yeah, met him, got pictures, autograph, and then throughout school, I enjoyed writing any chance I got, through elementary, middle, high school. High school, I was editor of the yearbook, which is only so much writing involved, but it was an avenue that allowed me to write, and I enjoyed editing. So, that was enjoyable for me. But then as an adult out of school, it's just nothing quite came together until I decided to write the zombie story. That's
one of those things that's, it's really cool. And I said, I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, I want to have, definitely as we're looking here, I mean, I'd love to have you back on and do this one thing, especially after I get a chance to actually read your book. Because I told Hadley this before he came in. I'm going to try my best to do justice to you both, because she put it for here. I mean, because I feel bad. I mean, I hate coming into a thing unprepared. I told you I wasn't going to blow smoke like, oh my God, this is the most amazing book anybody's ever written. Because I'm honest, I'm reading, I've got as much information as you guys are watching it. I just know from the little bit I've read, it looks like a fantastic book. I mean, the 3 pages I was able to read prior to show, those 3 pages were very well written. Very good job on those 3. But like she said, stop what you're doing. You're reading book 2. Stop, pause, go back to book 1. So I gotta go back to book 1. So I have a sneak peek, of what's getting ready to happen. So it's kind of like, great. Now I've got the spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So it's
you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it much more if you read the first book first.
And Chastity just asked, are you able to do signed copies for people if they contact you?
Yes, I am. They can just contact me usually on Facebook Messenger. They can find me on Facebook. I have a fan club. It's just Jaime Hernandez Fan Club. Or I also have an author page. Or they can just message me. But Facebook is the best avenue to do so.
We have one of our guests asking, do you do signed copies? And how could she obtain a signed copy of it?
Yeah, that's what I just asked.
Yeah, she can just send me a message.
Yeah, it's
and basically I just take payment for the book through PayPal and shipping. I don't charge any extra, I just normal price. Plus it's roughly $5 to ship or just under, assuming they're in the US. If they're out of the US, shipping goes way up. So then it's just up to them, if they're willing to pay, $20 to ship to the UK, or it's something like $30 to ship to Australia, which is insane. But I've had a few people do it. But yeah, I always have signed copies available. They just need to get in touch with me directly and we'll get it out to them.
Yeah, I'm sorry about asking that question again. I was officially kicked out, and then I came back.
Yeah, you're kicked out. No, I was just letting you know. It's just we asked it, so you didn't have to worry. Yeah, didn't want her. Yeah, they were chassis. Spoiler alert: they all die. You don't know that. You haven't read the book. But yeah, I brought it up here so everybody. This is her Jaime Hernandez author page. So you just go over here on Facebook and like that, and this gives information on that as well. And that's we looking into it. It's so how have the sales on the first book gone for you?
They've actually gone incredibly well.
Nice.
I didn't know what to expect, but I grew a really strong fan base. My fan club has around 660 members, I believe.
Wow, 6 more. Come on, 6 more. 6 more.
And yeah, I think part of it was I got lucky with the timing. Part of it is I think I have a good story to tell. And the right people read the book. So, these people, they love the book. They spread the word. They recommend it to other people. And yeah, it's done really well. That's awesome. Now I just hope the second book is as well received as the first one.
Yeah. So have you, is Kindle, are you selling a lot of actual print copies, or is it more Kindle downloads for you?
It's more Kindle, and I also do Kindle Unlimited. I have sold quite a few paperbacks, but more people buy it on Kindle. And then having it available on Kindle Unlimited makes a big difference as well, because a lot of people enjoy that. It's basically like, excuse me, if you're not familiar, it's something like $10 a month. You can take out as many books a month as you want, like a library. And you just return them when you're done and get something else out. So people are able to read it that way as well. Yeah, that's the read for free with Kindle Unlimited.
And that is, and I'm trying to remember, you actually, with that Kindle Unlimited, don't you actually get a better return for you as an author from that, as opposed to just somebody buying it straight Kindle price?
I'm not sure if it's actually a better rate, but I'd say after the initial sales, towards the beginning when the first book comes out, the first month or two, after that it slows down to probably 80-85% Kindle Unlimited. So where people are reading it and where I'm getting my income from. So I think the Kindle Unlimited is a really important part of it.
Yeah, I've thought about actually signing up for that, just because several of the books I've picked up lately have been from that. And so no, it's one of those things. It's just last minute. I've said a couple times, I'm trying to find some things here too that I normally have set aside in my notes, and this is one of those as they're popping in my head. So as people come up with one person was asking about your zombies. Mark Eddy was asking, are your zombies based on any New Testament zombies? And I'm not sure what I said. kind of new to the thing. I'm not sure what he's referring to on.
I'm not really sure what he's referring to with that.
Yeah, I'm new, so that I'm just looking to see if there's any other. And then Chassis was like, I think if we had any, if there was any zombies, that we never beat them because they'll eventually, all of us will eventually die anyway. Either take by them or we're gonna die.
That's what I noticed too. In the movie, obviously, you can't put the whole thing in there, but it's like you never see the end of it. You're like, they beat this section, now they're gonna continue on. I'm like, they're not gonna make it. The whole world is taken over by zombies. Like I think about that sometimes. I'm watching a movie. I'm like, I would just give up like the first hour. I'm not gonna win. I'm just like killing myself trying to survive for no reason. But I don't know.
I'd have to fight to survive. I think that people that are big fans of zombies and zombie writers, readers, movie watchers, or fans of like The Walking Dead, we'd have one small advantage if it ever happened. And that's that we wouldn't have that normalcy bias where, that's a zombie. We know what we're looking at. We wouldn't just stand there and get bit. So we'd have that little bit of an advantage.
I feel like Jamie and everybody that's into zombies has like just their bookcase full of zombies, and they're watching how it works. Like, all right, it's that kind of zombie. So then they open the book of like how to react to the situation.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when I was thinking like walking, I've always wondered about that, especially the way like the zombies. At some point you think that you would be able to just, stack them, like you'd actually be able to keep fighting them, and if you're like, we're going to run out of this. But if you're able to have like a long, sharp object, it feels like you'd be able to just barricade yourself in and just keep, almost like the Spartan type thing, part the shield, shut the shield, and you'd be able to take them out. Eventually the zombies would, be adding to the barricade, and but as we know, there's always a faulty wall, that they suddenly break through,
there we go.
And
but let's say this, direct the zombies to the ocean. Get an island and go. I mean,
they swim.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but zombies don't need to breathe, so
they go underwater.
Not necessarily. Well, in Land of the Dead, if you've seen that one, George Romero, the zombies figured out how to walk underwater to get to the walled-off city. I'm not saying they might be able to do that, but they don't need to breathe, so they could just be floating around in the water, and then one day you have zombies coming up on your island. You could see that happening.
I might just die of mercury overdose and eating fish the entire time. That's all that's gonna happen.
Here, Austin thinks he's safe on his catamaran. Next thing you know, zombie just floats
They're
up
all
to the
climbing
boat and climbing up.
That's a big whale. Oh, it's a horde of zombies. God damn it! Gotta move again.
All right. Well, no. So, what do you envision this right now? I mean, if you had to somebody had to pin you down, what are you looking at for like a book total on this series right now? Do you have an idea, or is this just kind of an ongoing? I'm just going to go until I feel like I've played the story out.
I have general plans for 6 books.
Okay.
I'll see how it goes. If people are still loving it when I get, to book 6, there'll be an opening for me to continue the series from there. But I definitely have plans for 6 books. And part of those plans, the reason the apocalypse takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, is going to unfold in future books as well. Like, they're not suddenly going to Texas or going across the country. It's focused, around the Great Lakes and that area. They're going to be in that region. So the first book is just the first 3 days of the apocalypse. The second book is actually just days 4, 5, and 6. It's gonna be a little bit like it'll be like that for a little bit longer, and then it'll start speeding up some. Excuse me.
So basically at your pace. I mean, you're basically book 6. You're going to be right at about a month.
Yeah,
You know, if
something
that day's
like that.
yeah. So that's okay. So that's even that's going to make it even crazier because this is now that tells me. I mean, you've put a lot of detail into the environment and everything in this book just based off that. Because if you're talking first book is not even 3 days. This isn't just something, hey, the two dudes up in the construction site, suddenly saw an explosion. Now they found their way to Kansas and they're on a train and, no, you're like by a couple hours. I mean, this is like, how did they get to this point? And that's going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm actually looking forward to it now. I
I'm
really
glad.
am. Yeah. So as we're getting close to here, so everybody just definitely needs to go to Amazon. I'm going to bring it up again here so everybody can see it. And to your author page, Jaime Hernandez, and you've got Urban Gridlock and your brand new book coming out, The Suburban Jungle. I'm going to bring that show there. That's the one that's just going to be released, and that's like you can pre-order that today, and that'll be delivered to you Friday. But obviously, start with Urban Gridlock. Otherwise, you'll be like me, being told to stop, read the first one. And that's follow here. You just right here, click follow, and then everybody just buy that book. Support her. I mean, at least thank you for coming on the show. I mean, that's
Thank you so much.
I'm truly honored to have you on. And that's, I mean, Hadley for asking you and you being willing to accept. I mean, this was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we got our first zombie episode in. Yes. Yep, you were there for the first zombie episode. That's fantastic. That's and then Mona was just up there. I think it's great you can whip out the books like you are. It's just, and that's one of those things too. It's just, that's, to me, is truly an impressive thing that when somebody has that ability to not only just come up with an idea, but to eloquently just flow, the words just apparently is just, the story is writing itself for you in your head, which is amazing. Because that's one of those, it doesn't sound like you struggle too much with writer's block right now.
No, not really. Rarely. I mean, occasionally I'll sit down to type and I'm not feeling it. If I'm not feeling it, I don't force it. I'm not like, oh, I've got to type so many words. If it's one of those days, then it's just, okay, I'm not writing that day. But because it usually, when I sit down to write, it flows. I think because I think about it so much in my mind in between that really helps it flow.
Now, that's the question. Actually, do you write it down on paper first, or you just type it out?
I just type it up.
Computer, laptop.
Yeah, I hate laptops. It's a desktop computer. With laptops, I always hit the wrong button and end up deleting something or something like that. I do make notes as I'm writing, just to remember, like, okay, what vehicle were they driving on this day in this chapter, things like that. So, say I'm 3/4 of the way into writing, I want to make sure I don't mess that up. Little details like cool. That. I
agree with you with laptops, because there's nothing worse than when you're typing and your palm hits that stupid key, pad, and next thing you know, where you're typing, the next thing is like in the middle of somewhere in the paragraph, and you've added that whole sentence you wrote, and it's some random thing. You're like, oh, how long has that been going? I got to sit there and just go back. Oh yeah, I get it. Laptops frustrate me. I don't have that problem with the keyboard. Yeah, so that's no, that's cool. I really enjoyed getting the behind the scenes, like into how you write the books too, and I hope everybody's got the same interest in checking out your books. And in fact, super easy. I mean, by the end of tonight, I mean, I hope you have a few purchases, because it's really simple. I mean, $3.99, click, buy it right now. I mean, you'll have it instant download. I mean, all of you should be reading it before you go to bed. Book 1, Urban Gridlock. Start reading that one. Get through that, and then if you fall in love with that, you have to buy Suburban Jungle, her brand new book that's coming out this Friday. So, Jaime Hernandez, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and down the road, have you back on sometime, especially when we get into either another book's coming out or when we talk about zombies again.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks again for having me. It's been great.
Oh yeah, well, appreciate you taking the time from the family. As I said, this is great, and I like the backdrop, by the way, too. That's pretty.
Oh,
pretty
thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you.
Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Nanny Cakes Nancy Burke, Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook, and 407-923-2898 is the phone number. Mention Three Beards and Zombies, and you're going to save money on that cake, which is going to be, awesome food to eat while the zombies are trying to break down your house. So that's good. Eat that one. Maybe she'll even make you a zombie cake. There we go. That's when that devil's, red velvet cake on the center would be kind of fitting. So everybody, we have new merchandise available at redbubble.com. Go to threebeardspodcast.com. We'll give you a direct link, or you can go to redbubble.com. Three Beards Podcast is the site. Go there, support us. Thank you to the 3 people who have already bought shirts from us. That means so much. We're rebroadcast every Thursday night at 10 p.m. courtesy of Patriot Radio. Download the Xena Radio app. And that's been brought to you by J&J Beard Co. Go to jjbeardco.com. Check us out on all the social media. Like, subscribe, follow us there. Definitely go to amazon.com. Purchase Jaime Hernandez's books, please. You got 2 of them right now. $8. $8. That's all it's going to take you right now. And you're going to have 2 books in. You're going to have 1 to start reading tonight and get those 2 out of the 2 days to get ready for this book 2. So watch that. Also go to Facebook, Jaime Hernandez author page, and follow her there, and just let her know that you saw it from the show. That'd mean a lot from us, because it just definitely shows that this helped him out, and that's the goal out of this whole thing. So, Jaime, thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Everybody have a great night. We will be back next week with 2 more shows. Good night.
Cool.